Welcome students to the last video section on accessory respiratory organ. In the previous lecture we have discussed about the different accessory respiratory organs. There is the first simple accessory respiratory organ is the skin. Then there is a brachial epithelium or the brachial diverticulum. Then there is a pharyngeal epithelium or the pharyngeal diverticulum. Then you can see the air-filled chamber as such. Then there is a gas bladder and the lung itself. You can see a so-called the gas chamber and a lung. You can see. Then finally there is a stomach and the intestine. So in the previous video lecture we have finished all these part, and we have discussed about the labyrinthine organ and that of the arborescent organ. Next, the final part, it is the modification that is seen in the stomach and the intestine. Let's see in detail. So there is an unusual method of air breathing or the specialized vascular pouches present in the intestine in the fishes like Cobitidae and Dorus. These are the intestinal air reservoirs. So intestinal tract proper, that is modified into a thin walled stomach which helps in the respiration in some catfishes. And some cases the rectum itself is modified for the air as an air reservoir. And in Cobitidae, the middle and the posterior portion of the intestine serves both as a digestive and the respiratory functions. In some of them, the intestinal digestive phase alternates with the respiratory one at the short intervals. So it gets shifted. At a point of time, it will be digestive in function, that is, intestine will be of digestive in function, and at next point of time, it will be having the respiratory function. So in some of them, the intestinal digestive phase alternate with the respiratory phases in short intervals. In some small fishes, the pharyngeal and the brachial development are more significant to store the enough quality or quantity of air, and so it is sent to the intestine. And the fish swallows the air by the mouth. The fish swallows the air by the mouth, then it reaches the pharynx, then it passes to the alimentary canal until it is finally expelled through the anus. And there is a bulb-like portion in the intestine just behind the stomach which serves as a reservoir. Or from the pharynx it reaches the gills and to the outside. So these two type of flow of air it is seen in some fishes. So these are the fishes. These are intestine. In this intestine is modified. Calyptis and Cobitidae. In these fishes, the rectum and the intestine itself is modified for the respiration and for the digestive purpose. Dorus and the Cobitidae. So the function of accessory respiratory organ, as you all know that these accessory respiratory organs contains a high percentage of oxygen, and the fishes possessing such respiratory organs are capable of living in water where the oxygen concentration is very low. And under this condition, these fishes come to the surface of the water to gulp in the air for transmission to the accessory respiratory organ. And if these fishes are prevented from coming to the surface, they will die due to asphyxiation for want of oxygen. Okay, due to the lack of oxygen, they will die off. And so the acquisition of accessory respiratory organ in fishes is an adaptive feature. The presence of this accessory respiratory organ in some fishes is an adaptive feature to cope up with the condition of less supply of oxygen. And further, it has been observed that the rate of absorption of oxygen in such organ is much higher than the rate of elimination of carbon dioxide. Hence, it is natural that the gills secrete or excrete most of the carbon dioxide. Okay. So the absorption of oxygen appears to be the primary function of the accessory respiratory organ. So the primary function of the accessory respiratory organ is that of the absorption of oxygen. And about the origin and the significance of accessory respiratory organ, it is during the development the fifth gill arch does not develop. The fish lamellae and its embryonic gill material from the rudiments of the gill arches aggregates to form a structure called as a gill mass. So the gills are not developed in these fishes which possess accessory respiratory organs. The gills are not much developed, whereas a structure called as a gill mass is developed, and the breathing organs or the accessory respiratory organs are developed from this gill mass. In some species, the gill arches other than the fifth arch also take part in the formation of the accessory respiratory organ. So in the previous video lecture, we have discussed that the second and the fourth gill arches are modified for the accessory respiratory organ. Okay, so in some cases, the fifth arch is also taking part in the formation of the accessory respiratory organ. Okay, so most of the fishes possessing the air breathing organs or the accessory respiratory organs are capable of living in deoxygenated water or the swamps or the muddy ponds infested with weeds. And they have been observed to gulp the air from the surface to pass it to the accessory respiratory organs. And if this gulping is prevented, these fishes will die off. Okay, so these are the things that can be discussed in the accessory respiratory organ. That's all. Actually, these accessory respiratory organs are present in these fishes to explore the new habit and other than the natural one. So they can live in the fresh water which is applied with oxygen, and also it can live outside this water for a while. And that's the main function of this accessory respiratory organ. So it enables them for the aerial respiration for some time. That's all about accessory respiratory organ. Thank you.